Andreas versus Carina Silano, case number 22-63142. Could we get the name of the prosecution for the record
Reid.
and the defense?
I believe he meant to say Edward Vandeberg and Mick Squigs, Your Honor.
Thank you. Prosecution, can you read off the charges?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Ms. Solano is being charged with PC 2236 embezzlement.
Thank you. Before we go into opening statements, does either side have any pretrial motions they wish to file at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Defense has one preliminary motion.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, we would like to suppress the affidavit submitted by Frigga Haugensen.
Reasoning?
Reasoning is, Your Honor, being that there was a extension made for discovery, and for the fact is that 1 day of discovery, for all we know, could have been used for valuable time and efforts, was not utilized, and thus, because there is no deposition and the defense has no accuser, or because Frigga is not here as the accuser, we'd like to suppress it.
Prosecution, do you have a rebuttal?
The state was unable to meet with Ms. Haugensen in the limited time. So that's why there was no deposition. It was only 1 day. That's generally not enough time for a deposition.
May I rebut, Your Honor?
Yes.
There are federal rules of evidence that says that there is a certain time, a limit of 1 day, 7 hours prior, and we were never given any notice as stated in Federal Rule of Evidence or Federal Rule of Civil Proceedings 30 F4.
I believe what Edward means, Your Honor, is it was not just 1 day; it was all discovery with an extension on top of that for the deposition.
Understood. The court will be denying that motion at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are there any other pretrial motions?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we will move into opening statements, starting with the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. You mind if I step forward?
You may move freely.
Okay. Just want to be able to address everybody. On January 2nd, 2022, the Department of Justice requested that the Marshal Service begin a criminal investigation into the conduct of the defendant, Carina Silano. In the course of their investigation, they found that Ms. Silano logged in 161 hours and 49 minutes while on duty as a court secretary during the month of December 21st, as per Exhibit H. Despite working that many hours, Ms. Silano only scheduled 3 meetings for the DOJ and collected 8 payments on behalf of the department, as per Exhibit I. Their logged work was drastically less of her coworkers, despite almost tripling each of their hours worked. Not only that, but while caught on duty as a court secretary, Ms. Silano admitted herself to being hunting, I use that in quotes, so that's what it says, and working at the bar Tequila Law, as shown in Exhibits A.2 and A.4, which are the defendant's text messages. Taking all this into consideration, the court should have no choice but to find Ms. Silano guilty of embezzlement, as she fraudulently acquired paychecks from the DOJ without being able to prove she was indeed working, as a secretary in all of those hours, and admitting to making money at on two separate occasions. Thank you.
Thank you, prosecution. Chief Finch, you may begin with your opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm here with my colleague, Mick Squigs. We represent Ms. Carina Silano in this very important case. The defendant stands here falsely accused of embezzlement, a very serious crime, mind you. At the conclusion of the case, we will ask for the verdict of not guilty. Your Honor, this case is about a hardworking citizen accused of intentional stealing from her employer. The state hopes to prove that my client embezzled money. However, through testimony and evidence, it will show that this is nothing more than severe and troubling leap in assumption. The evidence will not prove that Ms. Carina Silano should be held criminally responsible for any amount of money. That is all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Prosecution, do you have any witnesses here at this time?
Outside of the already given deposition of Attorney General Mac McLane, no, Your Honor.
And could you read off Ms. Frigga Haugensen's sworn affidavit to the court?
Yes, I can. You mind if I approach again?
You may.
Just give me 1 second to pull that up on my tablet.
Take your time.
Okay, I have here the administrative judge, Frigga Haugensen's sworn affidavit. In it, she states, I employed Carina Silano on the 6th of December 2021. During her onboarding process, it was explained to her the following. And the way she wrote it is like an itemized list, so I'm just going to read them one by one. Number 1, her main location of work is the courthouse. She is allowed to leave the courthouse for small periods of time, such as buying food, etc. However, she must remain fully available to complete all court staff activities, in parentheses, meeting and taking payments. Number 2, she is not permitted to have other employment while clocked on as court staff. Number 3, she can take other employment, but it must be declared to myself, being Frigga Haugensen. The rate of pay for court secretary is high because there are periods of time when it is quiet. In those times, it is perfectly acceptable to have friends visit her at the courthouse as long as they behave in a proper manner. She is not to quote unquote hang out with friends at other locations whilst on duty. She was informed to read the DOJ policies and be familiar with the behavioral guidelines. As a member of the court staff, when on duty, she is required to have a life meter up at all times and regularly bleat that she is available. I can confirm that to the best of my recollection, that at no stage did Carina inform me that she had alternative employment. And that is the end of the affidavit, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may return to your seat. All right. Defense, do you have any witnesses you wish to call at this time?
Not this time, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will go into a 5-minute recess for both parties to gather their thoughts, and we will return for closing statements.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Honorable Judge Jameson still preside.
You may be seated. The decision I've come to caused me a lot of internal debate. However, at this time, the court will be finding Miss Carina Silano not guilty of the charge of PC 2236 embezzlement. It is the belief of this court that there was not enough, that insufficient evidence was provided to place her at the areas other than the courthouse, as well as the in the opinion of the court, there is reasonable doubt that the crime did take place as described. So therefore, she is found not guilty, and court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.